Story 1. It started 3 days before Valentine's Day. I got home from work late, exhausted, and there it was. A box. Perfectly wrapped, sitting on my front porch like a polite invitation. No note, no delivery tag. Just red paper with gold trim and a ribbon so precisely tied it looked like a machine had done it. At first, I assumed it was from James, my boyfriend. He'd been distant lately, working late shifts, canceling plans, but maybe this was his way of saying he remembered. I brought it inside, sat on the couch, and untied the ribbon. The box was light. Inside was a small glass bottle. Clear. Empty. At least, it looked empty until I held it to the light and saw a red smudge on the bottom. Lipstick? I don't wear red lipstick. It didn't smell like perfume. It didn't smell like anything. It just sat there, this tiny, inexplicable thing. I texted James, "Did you leave something at my door?" He replied an hour later. "Number? What are you talking about?" That night, I didn't sleep well. I kept dreaming about someone standing at the foot of my bed, not doing anything, just watching. The next morning, I laughed it off. Someone must have dropped it off at the wrong address. Weird, but harmless. Until the second package arrived. This time, I saw it through the window before I even opened the door. Smaller than the last, wrapped in the same red paper, but without a ribbon. I looked around. No one in sight. I live in a decent neighborhood, not the kind where people mess around like this. I opened it right there on the porch. Inside was a folded note and a Polaroid. The note said, "I never forgot what you did." The photo was blurry, dark, and at first I couldn't tell what I was looking at. Then I saw it was me. I was standing in line at a grocery store holding my phone. The picture was taken from behind. My heart started hammering in my chest. I ran back inside and locked the door. I called James again, but it went to voicemail. I texted him, "Someone is messing with me. I just got another package and a photo of me." No reply. I told myself to stay calm. Maybe this was some weird prank. Maybe one of those viral TikTok things, though I had no idea who'd target me for something like that. I barely post anything. Still, I kept the note and the Polaroid and placed them in a drawer. The third day, the final gift came. I didn't hear the knock, didn't hear footsteps, but when I opened the door to get my coffee order, it was there again. A small box, unwrapped this time, just plain cardboard, sealed with black tape. My hands were trembling. I didn't bring it inside. I opened it right there on the porch with a pair of keys. Inside was a single red rose, dead and brittle, and tucked beneath it, a flash drive. I stood frozen for a long time. Then I took it inside, plugged it into my laptop, and held my breath. One video file. I clicked play. It was footage from inside my house, my living room. I, sitting on the couch, watching television. I had no idea I was being recorded. Then a frame skipped, and suddenly, I was asleep in my bed. The camera was in my room. I saw myself, unconscious, breathing softly under the covers. Then, slowly, a figure appeared in the corner of the screen, shadowed, hooded, standing in the doorway, just watching, not moving. The clip ended there. I screamed and tore the flash drive from the port, threw it across the room. Then I checked every inch of the house. Closets, cabinets, vents, nothing. James finally responded around 5 p.m. "Can I come over?" I didn't answer. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know if it was him or someone else or some memory I was forgetting. The note haunted me. "I never forgot what you did." What had I done? Who was this person? That night, I slept in my car, parked 3 blocks away, engine off, holding a flashlight and a baseball bat. And still, I felt watched. Like the gift wasn't just left at my door. It was inside me now. Something had been opened, and I didn't know how to close it again. Online dating never felt quite right to me, but loneliness has a way of convincing you to take chances. Her name was Rachel. At least, that's what her profile said. She had big eyes, auburn hair, and a soft smile that didn't seem forced. Her bio was short, just a few lines about liking jazz, quiet bookstores, and men who actually listen. We messaged back and forth for a few days, and she was charming. Funny too, in that dry, sarcastic way I find irresistible. She asked questions, deep ones. What's the biggest lie you've ever told? What's the most you've ever regretted? It felt intense for a dating app, but I was into it. We agreed to meet for dinner. Nothing fancy. A small Italian place in the older part of town. I got there early and waited by the window. Watched people walk by, trying to guess which one might be her. Then she arrived. She looked exactly like her photos, maybe even prettier in person, but there was something heavy in the air when she walked in, like the restaurant dimmed a little. She sat across from me and smiled. "You came," she said, like it was a surprise. "Of course," I said, laughing. "Did you think I'd bail?" She just stared at me for a second, then tilted her head. A lot of people make promises they don't keep. The way she said it chilled me, like she was talking about something very specific. I brushed it off. Nerves, maybe? First date jitters? We talked. Kind of. She didn't say much about herself. Whenever I asked about her job or where she grew up, she'd smile and redirect the question. But when she asked things, it felt surgical. "Have you ever hurt someone? Do you ever think about what it's like to be forgotten?" And the way she looked at me, as if she already knew the answers, made it hard to breathe. I started to feel lightheaded halfway through the meal. I'd only had water, no wine, no drinks before, but the world seemed slower, like my mind was lagging behind my body. I excused myself to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face, and stared at my reflection. My pupils were huge. My hands are shaking. When I came back to the table, Rachel was gone. No note, no explanation. The waiter handed me a small envelope. "She left this for you," he said. Inside was a single Polaroid photo of me, sitting in my car. Not tonight, but another night. I was parked outside my office, staring at my phone. In the photo, I looked distracted, vulnerable. It wasn't a selfie. I didn't even know it had been taken. I rushed home, locked the doors, double-checked every window. I kept telling myself this was a prank, a weird one, but nothing more. The next day I tried to message her. Her profile was gone, deleted, like she'd never been there. I checked my messages, my call logs. Nothing. Everything was wiped clean. That night, I had a dream. I was back at the restaurant, but it was empty. Just me and her. She leaned forward across the table and said, "You don't remember me, do you?" I tried to speak, but my mouth wouldn't open. She reached out and touched my face. Her fingers were ice. "You said you'd never forget," she whispered. "But you did." I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. I got up, checked the front door, still locked. I went into the kitchen to get a drink. And there, taped to the fridge, was another Polaroid. It was of me, sleeping, taken from the doorway of my bedroom. I don't live with anyone. I haven't given out a key in years. I called the police. They searched the house, found no signs of forced entry, took the photo but didn't seem to believe me. "Could be a prank," one of the officers said. "Anyone could have gotten that from your social media." But I hadn't posted that photo. It didn't exist online. It existed only on film, on paper. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the living room with a baseball bat, lights on, eyes wide. Around 4 a.m. the front door creaked, just slightly, enough to make my heart jump into my throat. I ran to it, yanked it open. No one was there, but on the welcome mat was another envelope. I opened it slowly. Inside was a note, written in tight, elegant cursive. "We made a promise once. You broke it. I'm just here to remind you. No name, no return address. Just that." The next day, I drove to my sister's place. Stayed there for a week. Nothing happened. No dreams, no photos. When I came back, the house felt different, emptier, like something had moved through it and left a trace behind. But the notes had stopped. For now. Story 2. The silence in my house didn't feel like safety anymore. It felt like waiting. I tried to convince myself it was over. That Rachel, if that was even her real name, had made her point and moved on. But the longer I stayed in that house, the more I felt like something unseen was breathing down my neck. It was in the way shadows stretched just a little too long. The way my reflection sometimes blinked was just a second out of sync. One night, I found another photo tucked under my pillow. Me again. At the sink this time. Washing dishes. But the thing that made my chest tighten was that I wasn't alone in the photo. Behind me, blurry but unmistakable, was Rachel. Just standing there. Watching. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't even looking at the camera. She was looking at me. I dropped the photo, stepped back, and scanned the room like a cornered animal. I should have run then, but I didn't. I went to the police again. This time, I brought every photo, every note, everything I had. They listened longer, nodded more seriously, but still, no fingerprints, no footage, no forced entry. "You might want to see someone," one of the officers said gently. I walked out before I could say something I'd regret. But maybe he was right. Maybe I was losing it. I booked a session with a therapist. Told her everything. She didn't flinch. Just took notes, nodded, and asked, "Have you experienced memory loss in the past?" I had. Years ago. A head injury. Car accident. They told me I'd lost a few days, nothing major. Nothing important. But now, I wasn't so sure. The dreams started again. More vivid this time. I was back in the car, the night of the accident. Rain. Headlights. Screaming. But this time, I wasn't alone. Rachel was there, in the passenger seat, crying, bleeding, and I was shouting at her, telling her it wasn't my fault, that she shouldn't have gotten in the car. I woke up with my hands clenched into fists and the taste of blood in my mouth. My therapist suggested hypnosis. I laughed at first. Then I begged her to do it. I needed answers. Anything. Under hypnosis, the memories came back like a wave breaking through a dam. Her real name wasn't Rachel. It was Ellie. And I had known her. Years ago. We dated in college. She was shy. Obsessed with photography. She hated how she looked in pictures, but loved taking them of everyone else. We'd fought. A lot. I'd wanted to leave, but she begged me to stay. That night, we argued in my car. I was drunk. Angry. I sped off, and the next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. They told me I'd hit a tree. I was lucky to be alive. But they never mentioned her. I never told them she'd been in the car. I never told anyone. And now, she was back. I wasn't just being haunted. I was being held accountable. That night, I burned the photos. Every single one. I watched them curl and blacken and turn to ash in my fireplace. I shouted into the flames, I'm sorry I forgot. I'm sorry I lied." The fire cracked like a reply. For a while, things went quiet, peaceful even. I started to sleep again. Eat. Live. But guilt is a living thing. It doesn't die in fire. Weeks later, I opened my front door and found one last envelope. Inside was a photo of her grave, newly cleaned. Fresh flowers. The back of the photo had 4 words. "Thank you for remembering." I didn't know what to feel. Relief? Dread? Maybe both. But I drove out to the cemetery, and when I got there, I froze. Because standing beside the headstone was a woman with auburn hair, her back to me. I walked closer, heart pounding in my ears. "Ellie?" I whispered. She turned. It wasn't her. Just someone visiting another grave. She looked at me and smiled politely, then walked away. But for a moment, I could have sworn it was her. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the last photo. I whispered, "I didn't mean to forget you." A breeze passed through the room, cold and slow. The curtains shifted, and for the first time in months, I felt forgiven. But even now, sometimes, when I'm alone, I hear the faint click of a camera shutter, and I wonder, am I remembering her, or is she still remembering me? Story 3. Valentine's Day has always made me feel a little awkward. It's not that I hate love or anything, I just never like the pressure of it. The expectation is to smile widely, hold hands, and post cute captions for the world to see. That year, I had no plans, no dinner reservations, no red roses waiting by my door. Just me, a bottle of wine, and a quiet apartment. It wasn't sad. I actually liked it that way. Until I found the card. It was tucked into my mailbox. Not mailed, just placed there. No stamp, no return address. My name, handwritten across the envelope in thick red ink. Hannah. That was it. No last name, no apartment number, but it was my mailbox. My handwriting. Curious, I opened it. The card was plain white with a watercolor heart on the front. Inside, in the same red ink, were just 6 words. You looked beautiful from the sidewalk. I stared at it for a long time. My first thought was maybe someone in the building had a crush. Maybe a neighbor saw me coming home from work or passing by with groceries. Sweet, right? A little bold, but flattering. Except, I hadn't been outside in 2 days. And the last time I had it was at night. Cold, dark, and I was in sweats and a hoodie. No makeup. Hair unbrushed. Nothing about that said beautiful. I laughed it off and left the card on the counter. But something about the handwriting gnawed at me. The way my name was written, .it, was off. Like someone had written it dozens of times before. Practicing. Memorizing the curve of the H. The slant of the final H. I shook it off. Told myself I was being weird. That night, I went to bed with the card still sitting on the kitchen counter. Around 2 a.m., I heard a sound. A soft knock. Not on the door. On the window. I live on the 3rd floor. I froze. Heart thudding. I crept out of bed and tiptoed to the kitchen, keeping the lights off. The window above the sink faces a narrow alley. It's high. No fire escape, no ledge. But when I peeked out, my breath caught. Someone was standing in the alley, just far enough that I couldn't see their face. Just still enough that it was more disturbing than if they were moving. I closed the curtain and backed away. I didn't call the police, I should have. But part of me thought, what would I even say? Someone's watching me. I got a weird card. They'd laugh. Or worse, they'd do nothing. I stayed up all night. The figure eventually disappeared. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I checked the mailbox. Another envelope. This one was sealed with a wax stamp shaped like a rose. I felt sick before I even opened it. Inside was another card. Same heart. Same handwriting. You left the light on again. I dropped it. I ran upstairs, locked every door, every window, every stupid crack in the walls. I didn't go to work. I just sat in the living room, knees pulled to my chest, waiting for another sound. Another card. Another knock. By sunset, I convinced myself I was overreacting. Maybe someone was playing a dumb prank. I had no enemies, no crazy exes, no one I'd scorned or ghosted. I was bored, forgettable, safe, or so I thought. I tried to distract myself, cleaned, ate something, watched television. By midnight, I was nodding off on the couch. I left the light on. When I woke up, it was still dark. My phone said 3:17 a.m., and the card was on the coffee table. A new one. No sound. No door opened. Nothing disturbed. But it was there. You looked peaceful in your sleep. I screamed. I actually screamed. Ran to the bathroom. Locked myself inside. I called my sister. Sobbing. She told me to call the police. This time, I did. They came, checked the building, and checked my apartment, but found nothing. No fingerprints. No signs of forced entry. "Are you sure you didn't invite anyone over?" one of them asked. I almost slapped him. They left with a report and a suggestion. Get a security camera. I did the next day. I bought 3. One for the hallway, one for the kitchen, one for the window. I installed them myself. Saturday there all day, watching the feeds on my phone. Nothing. Night came. I sat on the couch, phone in hand, staring at the kitchen camera. And just before 3 a.m., I saw it. A shadow. In the window. Just for a second. Then gone. I ran to the kitchen. Nothing there. But on the counter was another card. Still warm. Like someone had just placed it down. I picked it up with shaking hands. I'm closer than you think. I didn't sleep again that night. I sat in the corner of my bedroom, baseball bat in hand. Every light in the apartment blazing. The card, with "I'm closer than you think," was still on the counter. I didn't touch it. I didn't even want to look at it. Every few minutes, I checked the camera feed, cycling through the hallway, kitchen, and window. But after that last movement, nothing. Just still frames of my too quiet apartment. The next day, I took the footage to the police. They watched the clip 3 times. One officer nodded slowly. "Could be a trick of the light," he said. I wanted to scream. They promised to send someone to patrol the building that night. I didn't believe them. I started crashing at my sister's place, 15 miles away. Her apartment was louder, brighter, and she never left a curtain open. She kept joking that I had a stalker admirer. That I should be flattered. I laughed along, but I never told her what the last card said. She didn't need to worry like I was. For a few days, nothing happened. I kept checking my mailbox from a distance. Empty. Then, a week later, I got a text from an unknown number. "Do you miss me yet?" My stomach dropped. I texted back, "Who is this?" No reply. I blocked the number. The next morning, another text. New number. "You shouldn't have left. I like it better when you're alone." I dropped the phone, cried in the bathroom while my sister banged on the door asking what was wrong. That afternoon, I went back to my place. I had to get out. I couldn't hide forever. I packed clothes, grabbed anything I thought I'd need for a few weeks. While I was there, I checked the security footage again, and I froze. The feed from 3 nights before. 2:49 a.m. kitchen. Someone opened my fridge. Just a flash of a figure, barely visible, but not a trick of light. A hand, a shoulder. Then, it disappeared. That wasn't the worst part. On the counter, they left something. A card. But it never appeared after that. Like they took it back. Or maybe it was still somewhere in my apartment. I searched for everything. Every drawer, cabinet, under the couch, the sink, the bed. Nothing. I went back to my sister's, shaking. My body wouldn't stop trembling. That night, I got another text. "You forgot the card." I turned off my phone and threw it across the room. I begged my sister to help me move. She agreed. Said she'd come with me in the morning to pack the rest. We didn't sleep. We were up drinking coffee and watching trash television when we heard it. A knock. Not on the door, on the window. Her 3rd floor window. She looked at me, pale. We stood, walked slowly to the window, hands clenched. Nothing, just darkness. But there, taped to the glass, was a white envelope. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside, "You weren't supposed to bring anyone." That was it. We moved that day. I never went back to that apartment. I got a new number, changed jobs, started over. I even stopped using social media for a while. Months passed. No texts, no cards, no knocks, just silence. Then, this Valentine's Day, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. The envelope was red this time. Inside, a card. Same watercolor heart. Same handwriting. "Happy Valentine's Day. I still think you looked beautiful.